I've 28F, lost weight and now I want to divorce my husband, 29M. I am not the original poster. That is Throw RA, 132,457. She posted in our relationship advice. Mood spoiler. Sad. But oop will be okay. Less than. Original post. January 17th, 2024. Sorry for the long post. We've been married for 5 years and together for 7 years. We also have a 3-year-old kid. After having the baby, I struggled a lot with losing the baby weight and adjusting to being a parent. I also had the baby blues at first, which was tough. I wasn't really focused on my appearance and instead I was trying to figure out our new routine and way of life. But then my husband started making these little comments about my body and how I should start working out and wearing makeup again. It made me feel really awful and I worried that he might start looking elsewhere because we weren't being intimate anymore. He even suggested hiring a nanny so I could have more time for myself, but I wanted to be there for our baby full time, so I turned down the offer. That made him angry and he started acting cold towards me. Months went by without any hugs, kisses, romance or any kind of affection. My self-esteem hit rock bottom. Every time I looked in the mirror, all I saw were the flaws that my husband pointed out. By this point, our son was already 2 years old and I desperately wanted to win my husband back. I thought that if I got in shape again, he would show me love and affection and our marriage would be saved. I craved his attention so much and it hurt to see how much things had changed. But you can't force someone to be affectionate. I took matters into my own hands and hired some help. With more free time, I started going to the gym, taking swimming classes, which are amazing for your back by the way, getting my hair and lashes done regularly and eating healthier. And guess what? I've lost a ton of weight and I feel amazing. Suddenly, my husband started touching me, kissing me, buying me flowers and treating me like the complete opposite of how he treated me before. You'd think that would make me feel better, but for some reason, it made me feel worse. All I could think about were the hurtful things he said to me when I was at my lowest and how cold he was towards me. I get that you can't force attraction, but why couldn't he just hug me or give me a kiss on the cheek even when I was overweight? Why couldn't he love me as a human being and the mother of his child? When my self-esteem came back, I got really angry at myself for putting up with his behavior for so long. A few days ago, I told him I wanted a divorce because I don't think I can move past how badly he treated me. He apologized and promised to change and prove that he can be better. But honestly, I'm not sure if I can trust him again. What if I gain weight again or have to deal with health issues? Will he treat me like garbage again? I've talked to some friends and family about the whole situation and some say I should give him another chance, while others say I should leave him. So I'm turning to Reddit for some advice. Am I justified in being upset over this? Do you think it's possible for my husband to change his behavior for the long term, or is a divorce the right move here? Relevant comments. More on how Oop felt. It was really awful. There were days when he didn't even want to look at me or watch a movie together. It was like we were just roommates. And whenever I tried to give him a hug or a kiss, he would roll his eyes. I cried myself to sleep so many nights. So he offered to get you help and you said no? Between him offering help and me hiring help, there was a big gap of several months. We were still getting used to our new routine and our baby had a super sensitive stomach, so it was really tough at that time. Plus I wanted to be there for my child as a mom and felt like it was way too early to bring in outside help. Going to the gym was honestly the last thing on my mind. Then later on, when things calmed down and we got into a better routine, I could finally take some time off and focus on myself too. So even though you're right, he offered the same help that I eventually received. The circumstances were different. Update post. January 21st, 2024. 4 days later. Thanks a lot for all the advice you gave me after my last post. It was really tough to make a decision, especially considering our son. So I sat down with my husband and had a conversation about what happened. He kept saying sorry, but I asked him if he actually understood why his behavior was hurtful. He just kept saying he was being a jerk, but I felt like he didn't really grasp why it was a problem. So I broke it down for him. I told him that saying I still look pregnant 3 months after giving birth or calling me a mess because of my dark circles, rolling his eyes when I wanted to show affection, not talking to me for days without any reason, and not wanting to spend time together were all really hurtful. And on top of that, he didn't offer the help so I could take care of my mental health. Instead, he wanted me to go to the gym and get in shape. When I reminded him of all this, he couldn't even look me in the eye and didn't say a word. The silence in the room was so thick, you could cut it with a knife. I just don't think he fully understands how badly he treated me. No amount of extra weight can justify that kind of behavior. I wouldn't treat a stranger like that, let alone someone I love. But for the sake of our son, I still offered him couples counseling. And guess what? He refused. He said he was afraid that the therapist and I would team up against him and make things worse. We went round and round in circles, and after almost 3 hours of talking, I finally had enough and told him I wanted a divorce. He tried to convince me that he could prove he can change, but when I asked him how, he just said I had to have faith in him and see it for myself down the line. That's just not good enough for me. I told him I was taking our son to my mom's place for the weekend and that we would discuss everything before finalizing the divorce on Monday. He said okay and we left. But now he won't stop blowing up my phone, begging for a second chance and telling me how much he loves me and how he made a mistake. It's really disheartening to see how much he changed after we had our son. All I ever wanted from him was love, loyalty and respect, but he didn't give me any of that in the past few years. I still wanted to give him a chance, but he doesn't want to put in the work to make things better. If it comes to that, I'll be able to raise our son on my own as I'm financially independent and secure. I also have a lot of help, so it'll be okay. I still want him to be a part of our son's life and be the best daddy he can be. But I can't be with someone who doesn't love or respect me. I wanted to thank you again for all your support and the advice you gave me. I thought my husband was the person I would grow old with, but the universe has other plans for me. It will be really hard to let him go, but I'm hoping it's for the better. I'm sorry, but refusing to hug or even look at your spouse for months. This dude doesn't love her. He's a psychopath. When my husband was sick and gained a ton of weight, I still loved him and thought he was cute. And the same for me. I had a horrific miscarriage. Vomiting, puking, peeing, bleeding everywhere, and he still wanted to hug and kiss me after. I don't get shallow-ass men like this. All she wanted was just a hug, and he couldn't even bother with that. Instead, he offers to hire a maid so she can go work out and lose weight. What a butt face. The fact he's afraid that the therapist will team up against him tells me he knows exactly what he's doing is wrong. Let's go to counseling. No. Okay, we are divorcing. Give me a second chance. Quote, I literally already did. You failed. Good for Op. She has a bright future. He made a mistake, not a coordinated stream of mistakes, over a period of 2 years. But for the sake of our son, I still offered him couples counseling. And guess what? He refused. He tried to convince me that he could prove he can change, but when I asked him how, he just said I had to have faith in him and see it for myself down the line. Asshole couldn't even pretend to be interested in putting in effort. Oop has every right to leave. You can't just say, "I will change," and wash the slate clean. Her husband's past actions will never be forgotten, and no amount of groveling will change that. If he does change, he will have to apply that for his next partner. He even had an out when she asked for counseling, but refused because he didn't want to be painted as the bad guy. Yeah, getting told that you're hurting your partner is uncomfortable, but remorse is the ingredient towards change. If you cannot deal with that, then you'll just continue with your abuse. I wish her the best. It's a challenging road ahead, but I hope things turn out well. Op deserves to have someone who will love and fully care for her. Clearly, the husband is more focused on his ego rather than actually helping and caring for the relationship. He is involved. It's unfortunate for Op, but separation is the best option. When a spouse or lover refuses to do couples therapy at least once, it just shows the relationship is likely not going to last long. How he made a mistake. A mistake is buying the wrong brand of bread. He had a prolonged assault against your emotional well-being, while you were focused on caring for a baby. Married for more than 2 decades here. I can't imagine ever saying anything negative about my wife's body. Pregnant. Not. Right after delivering. Scars. C-section. First kid. Second kid. I could not get enough of her. I adore my wife. Op deserves the same. OP's husband begs to save their relationship. I mean, after she got her body back, right? But Op suggests couples counseling and he says, "Not like that, and, trust me, I'm going to be better." Yeet the whole man. Oop. Yes, the whole man. I just don't think he fully understands how badly he treated me. No, the husband did understand, and he wanted her to understand it was bad, too. That was the whole point. To punish and shame her into being a hot wife for him again. But that was supposed to be the only consequence and consideration. What he didn't want to deal with, and didn't know how to deal with, was her understanding how badly he treated her and having the self-esteem to call him out on it and say she deserved better. The only ways his behavior was supposed to affect him were giving him eager boners and conceptual high fives from other men because of his hot wife. Hold up. He was making these comments 3 months after she gave birth? Bruh. She just pushed an entire human baby out of her and he thought 3 months was enough? It takes time for a woman to get back into the mindset where she's not trying to keep the baby alive first. I know my sister looked like she was hit by a tornado after she gave birth, and all of us were smart enough to shut our mouths from making any comments, so instead we helped where we could back then. Geez. Only after 3 months. Oop is lucky that she found out her ex-husband's true nature while she's still young and healthy. Too many men leave their wives when they are diagnosed with a serious illness and/or disability. This guy is definitely the kind of person who would dump his wife if she had cancer. Also, leaving aside the marriage, the husband doesn't seem particularly interested in their son. It seems that Oop was left with the majority of the childcare. Whenever I read posts like these, I always wonder what the husband looks like and if the audacity is in alignment. In my experience, it never is. I made a mistake. Neglect and abuse aren't mistakes. My dude, he has not changed. And that's why he doesn't think he needs a therapist. His love is conditional, and I'm glad Oop is divorcing. I feel like I've read this exact post in BORU before. Sometime last year. Are we sure this is only 10 days old? Really? It was almost considerate of him. She could have gone so much longer before realizing that when he said, "in sickness and in health," he really meant, no. Just me. You have to be perfect all the time. For some reason his actions stink of red pill behavior. In the back of my head I remember hearing something about these dudes withholding affection to get what they wanted. I would do anything for love. Counseling? But I won't do that. I am noticing more and more that men are afraid of going to marriage counseling. Because they think either there's nothing to fix or in this guy's case, they'll team up against them. They're willing to do everything else but actually get help for their marriages. Why is that?
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. EpicAriaCast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.